British breakfast TV is starting now, and they look miserable. Oh God, do they look miserable? And so it's across the aisle. You know, they can hug each other in Parliament later on today, weep into one another's shoulders, and Donald Trump will be on the phone, hopefully.
What do you
to give him a piece of his mind?
Do you think this has any implications or indications for you guys over in the UK?
No, not really. Unfortunately, British politics is very stagnant, and we've got another 5 years of the Labour government, which means nothing interesting is going to happen here for quite some time. But it is nice to see that at least you guys have something good going on. Like there's a ray of hope and sunshine on the horizon. Yeah. For us, it's going to be 1,000 years of darkness, but at least for you, it might be quite decent.
So it'll be similar to the weather.
Well, it's the UK. It's going to be dark, but I get what you're saying. I mean, we're excited, but we don't want to be too optimistic, and we're trying not to go to sleep because when you close your eyes, that's when the mail-in ballot ferries come and unload.
Well, it's already happening.
Thousands of ballots.
I've been retweeting some of it. It's already happening. But I think it's too late.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to matter. I mean, right now we've got 93% reporting.
What is he up by there?
In Pennsylvania, and Trump is up by about it looks like 230,000 votes.
I think he's broadened his gap since 92%.
His lead is increasing in PA. If he takes
too big to rig,
that's it. He wins. Yep. And Nevada is 68% in. It's leaning Donald Trump. Nevada doesn't really matter at this point. If Arizona goes Trump, which we believe it will, and Trump wins PA, it's done. But actually, I don't believe he even needs those. With Maine's coming...
It looks like Wisconsin's going to be enough. So he's got Pennsylvania, he's got Wisconsin, that's it.
So the New York Times has him at greater than a 95% chance of victory with an estimated 306 electoral votes and a 1.2 popular vote lead, which is the mandates. That means we have told the woke, the left, the insanity enough.
Wow. There was a time where Kamala Harris needed to win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and it looks like there will be a huge repudiation of that, and Donald Trump will win all three of the Rust Belt states.
Carl, why don't you give a quick outline about the story that I mentioned earlier, how you had talked about how Donald Trump had to come back and win. Why don't give our listeners, our viewers, a quick outline of that?
Sure. Basically, the current American cycle has taken on the aspect of essentially kind of a movie trilogy, a sort of 3-act movie trilogy. So you get the initial success of the heroes in the first film. In the second film, you get the return of the Empire, as in the Two Towers in Lord of the Rings, or The Empire Strikes Back in the Star Wars trilogy. And then, of course, you get the final payoff in the third movie, where the heroes realize, no, this is what we have to do to win. The team comes together, and of course, darkness is vanquished forever, which means the Democrats, hopefully they'll be vanquished forever. These stories, they resonate for a reason, right? There's a reason that all major film trilogies have this kind of 3-act structure to them, and you even see this reflected in the films themselves. This basic 3-act structure is because this is the general sort of pattern of how humans understand the world around them is always built into narratives, and there's a moral payoff at the end of these narratives, and we're actually seeing that play out in real time in front of us, in real life, politically. So it was very clear to me a couple of years ago that no, wait a minute, 'cause like when Ron DeSantis was running, I love Ron DeSantis, but it's like, no, bro, it's not your time. It's Trump's story. We're a part of it. We've all got a place, and you're not the guy yet. It could be you later, but it's not you now.
I think that was the first time I heard you mention it, was talking about Ron DeSantis, as like you were like, I like DeSantis, but not now. It has to be Trump. Trump has to come back. He has to come back and win to finish the story. So sorry for cutting
exactly. And it has to be Trump to shove it in the faces of the Democrats. Those I'm not gonna, I don't know what you're streaming, so I'm not gonna give my opinion on what happened in 2020. But it has to be Trump to come back and destroy them. It has to be him, because he's the one that they particularly hate and screw over. No, it has to be him, and it has to be them learning a lesson from this. They're not going to learn any lesson, but it has to be him destroying them for it to be essentially the correct moral payoff to the tale. And we seem to be getting the good ending.
I sure hope so.
It's because we live in a simulation that we're in. It's a trilogy, and
Well, I will say, there is still a 5% chance that we lose this thing, and Trump doesn't win.
Less than
5%. But I will say, Carl, I appreciate you broadening my horizons here, because you mentioned that there are people on British television who are going to be crying over Trump winning. I thought I was only going to get to watch American liberals cry.
Oh, no.
But there's a whole other category of liberal I get to see suffer.
So there is a Conservative Party member and former politician called Rory Stewart, who runs a very popular podcast in Britain called The Rest is Politics, very pretentiously named. And he tweeted, I think it was yesterday, Kamala's going to comfortably win because of these factors. And he was wrong on all of these points. And people were pointing out, Rory, you don't know anything about American politics, do you? And of course, come this evening, he's been doing a live stream with his fellow left-winger, Alistair Campbell. And they had this particular point that people clipped and cut out because it was so good. He was like, well, if Kamala Harris was winning, we'd be correct. And then he just starts giving his why Kamala Harris won spiel. And it's like, Rory, are you delusional? Like saying, well, if things worked out as I said they would, I'd be correct. And yeah, no kidding. But they didn't. And you've done no introspection, no self-reflection. And you are not the political authority on America that you thought you were.
The New York Times saying Trump will very likely be the next president. And they are projecting he will be the first Republican in decades to win the popular vote.
Yeah.
I just want to point out,
literally 20 years.
I just want to point out that it appears to be the case that just like Kamala Harris's husband, Trump only beats women.
Oh my God.
Well, he saved America from a woman president twice.
Twice.
Now. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the guy needs to be added to Mount Rushmore or something. But you know what's interesting is that what this is showing is like legitimacy lies with Trump. There's this sort of, the ancient Chinese concept of the mandate of heaven, where it's like, look, it's just chosen by the heavens. You don't really get to say, you don't get to capture it. It's either with you or it's not with you. And the popular vote is a good way of revealing who has this mandate. So even if like technically, on various technicalities in the system, I managed to get enough electoral electors in the states and whatnot. Yeah, okay, fine. But it doesn't have that kind of oomph behind it where, no, most people wanted this. And we have this at the moment where like the Labour Party is in power with a large majority on 20% of the vote. Right? So 80% of the people did not vote for this. They are not legitimate. They do not have the mandate of heaven. Whereas Trump getting the popular vote here and, of course, winning, he will have the mandate of heaven. So basically, whatever he does now will be legitimate. And everyone will be like, yeah, okay, fair enough. This is what we voted for.
The coping is just copious.
It's good.
I got one tweet. They said, at this point, it's abundantly clear that it was never really but her emails. It was but their females.
How do you feel about that as a female voter?
I'm glad that she's not winning. Honestly, I think we can have a woman president. I think that would be great for our country at some point. I would be in full support. I don't want to get too much hate here, but I love Nikki Haley. I don't think it was her time now. I'm a Trump fan over a Nikki Haley fan.
You two should talk.
But I
He
do love
loves
Nikki Haley, and I think that an American president or a female president for America could be great. But the thing is, if Kamala Harris were to win, she would make sure that no other woman was ever elected president in the history of the United States of America. She would ruin it for all of us. I would maybe want to be a president one day. We'll see. I'm only 24. I got some time. But I'm glad that she's not the first. Same with Hillary. Why do we have to throw the worst women up there? Women can be so incredible and so smart and accomplish such amazing things for this country. And to throw the worst two representatives of women and American women is just embarrassing. Like, we're so much better than that.
I think the compelling thing here is that we were told constantly that, it's not going to be called on election night. It's going to be a close election. You might have to wait a few days, maybe even a week to get the results. No, it came in tonight and actually relatively early for an election night. This is a mandate, as Carl was saying earlier. And I guess all I have to say is cheers to MAGA, and hopefully we can make America great again.
Cheers.
Thank you, Donald Trump.
You're calling it Elon calls the election.
Forget New York Times. We're calling it here at Timcast first.
No,
we're not. We're not. Can we resend that? Actually, we're not calling it first.
PTSD like everybody else.
I know. I'm like, when did the ballots show up?
So I do think that it is good that Kamala Harris is not going to be the first woman president, because I do think that legitimacy matters, like Carl was saying. Like, our first woman president has to be someone that the people pick, that wins the nomination and beats the other opponents that are running and wins the presidency
and is qualified at a bare minimum. That's the one thing Kamala Harris has just never lived up to. She's never been qualified.
Clearly, but it's like,
could I interject here?
Please.
Because
Sorry,
I think that you
forgot
guys
you were still there.
I think you guys are approaching this in the wrong way. So the remarkable thing about Margaret Thatcher was not the fact that she was a woman, right? The remarkable thing about Margaret Thatcher is that she was good. Yeah. She was a very effective politician. She was a very strong capitalist during the Cold War and made a great ally to Reagan, right? It was through Reagan and Thatcher that the Cold War was won. And the fact that she's a woman is really not what
more Reagan, about. But I understand why you want to say some Thatcher, but sure.
So it's I wouldn't worry about that. I would worry about just finding someone who's really good for the moment. And if they happen to be a woman, then great. If not, then okay. But trying to fulfill an arbitrary category, well, you'll end up getting someone like a Kamala Harris because the category becomes more important than their techniques.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's honestly, I really believe it. I really believe it.
Yeah, I don't think we should have a woman president just for the sake of having a woman president. I think that whoever the best candidate is to run this country and to lead us should win. And if that happens to be a woman, I think that would be fantastic. I think women are more than capable, but definitely not the Democratic women.
Yeah, just another Democrat.
This is something
just Republican women. That's fine. That's all you need to say.
Well, this is also something I pointed out in the past. People make it sound as if, it's just a bunch of evil sexist men who would never vote for a woman. Look, the reality is, presently, the kind of woman involved in politics is not the kind of woman who appeals to other women most of the time. It's like a very specific kind of personality trait that usually rubs other women the wrong way. So it's kind of a catch-22 for people who are trying to push for that.
I don't want to get...
It's also quite a rare personality trait as well, because, yes. Margaret Thatcher won 3 elections in a row, right? So that's a hell of an achievement. I'm not even sure if there is another British politician in the 20th century who ever did this. But again, it wasn't because she was like, I'm a woman. She literally repudiated all of feminism. She was completely against it. Her quote is, "I owe nothing to women's lib," right? Nothing, because it was about the fact that she had that kind of personality and she was that person at the right time. So basically, you've got to wait for that kind of rare character to come along.
Shout out Golda Meir.
Yes, sir. One thing that we weren't talking about because we're so focused on the presidential election, but again, these down ballot races and how that impacts this, because Trump is winning by such an impressive margin so far right now. We saw him flip the Senate seat in Ohio. I think it's likely that the Republicans will expand their lead in the House. So Trump will not have to deal with Congress constantly trying to stymie him with the Democrats. So hopefully he increased that lead and maybe up to 52 or 53 senators. So we'll see.
Did they get the House? Did the House been?
I think the House has already been read, but I think they're holding it or increasing some of their.
If it does flip to Democrats, then there will be impeachments.
100%.
There will be attempts at impeachment.
Yeah. Yes. So that will go nowhere like the last 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but I think that it would do significant damage to the Democrats. I think that it would be far more discrediting than any of the past shenanigans, because of the fact that there's a clear mandate. The American people want him. He won the Electoral College. He won the popular vote. And if they're trying to impeach him, it looks purely political. So I think that could actually hurt the Democrats in the long run.
I'm going to add something else. I think we're almost looking at this in the wrong way, and this might sound grim, but it's an important thing for us to pay attention to. We need to pray for Donald Trump's physical safety because lawfare didn't work. Trying to impeach him didn't work. Trying to bankrupt him didn't work. Smearing him in the media didn't work. So they've started to attempt assassination of the man. And we should not expect that to stop. We need to pray for him, and he needs to have more stringent security protocols surrounding him in his presence than any other president in American history.
So I just want to give the quick update. Still, New York Times says greater than 95% chance to win.
Wow.
With 87% reporting in Wisconsin, Trump is up 225,000. In Michigan, with 66% reporting, Trump is up 240,000. And in PA, with 93% reporting, Trump is up 224,000. With some saying there aren't enough votes left in PA. If Trump takes PA with the other projected wins, it's over.
It's over.
We did it, boys.
Red, the entire map.
We celebrate for half a second. We just enjoy a moment.
We need to stress, I need to stress right now, while many people are saying yes, but they're going to bring in votes at 3 a.m, it won't matter if Wisconsin and PA shift. There's a lot of people saying there's no way they're going to be able. Trump is up 4 points in Nevada at 68%. Nevada and Arizona, you got 17 electoral votes right there. 10 in Wisconsin, 15 in Michigan, 19 in PA. It's seeming very, very unlikely anything they do is gonna turn this around. It's not guaranteed yet. Otherwise, the New York Times would have called it.
Yeah.
But we'll put it at that, and it's looking very, very good. Right now.
Also, just a quick thing on that. If you remember from 2020, because I was watching live, the ballot dumps were about 130,000.
Yep.
Trump's up by more than that in several of these states.
Yeah.
So it really is going to be too big to rig.
Decision Desk has Trump with 251 electoral votes sealed. If the 19 votes come in PA, and right now they're reporting Decision Desk has 220,000 up. It's done. The moment they call PA, this thing is over.
Guys,
And we
I'm excited.
celebrate. And
It
we
seems
celebrate.
unreal, frankly. After
Yeah,
all
I
Trump's
know.
been through, after the multiple assassination attempts, after all of the legal warfare against him, for him to reach this moment, after being a threat to democracy,
That's right.
after all the media, all of the spin, for things to come to fruition like this, it seems unreal, frankly.
Well, hold on. It hasn't quite come to fruition.
So
On inauguration
dreaming.
day, it comes to fruition. No, I'm not even talking about winning tonight. I'm saying if he wins, who knows what kind of shenanigans they're going to try to pull.
Well, I mean,
like
I-
I said,
how-
Rachel Maddow is going to be storming the Capitol shouting, "Stop the steal."
How
Like,
amazing will it be if we get to go to bed by 2 a.m.?
Oh, my God.
I'm down. For
I'm
some
not
good
going to go
sleep,
to
man.
bed by 2 a.m. If he wins, I feel
Yeah, if he wins, we're
Celebrate.
going to Broadway or something.
Tim is like, I can't wait for the greatest political victory in history, so I can go to bed.
I have work in the morning.
I know, me too. Let's just party through the night.
Give me some
Can he
cat-
come and speak already? I'm getting antsy. I just want him to come out.
all I wanna do the dance.
Here's the secret, guys. If you stay awake till the sun comes up, your tiredness goes away.
100%.
And you're totally fine.
Yeah, you're totally fine. It's true.
Your brain doesn't work properly for a little bit, but whatever.
The hallucinations kick in a little
Yeah,
bit.
but you know what? I look, we've all pulled all-nighters before. You can get
It
through
gets
it, no
fine.
problem.
Historians will write about these times. We don't need to remember them too well.
What if at the end of the night...
Carl, did you get sleep?
Yeah.
I had a nap this afternoon, which is really rare because I got 4 kids and I don't usually get to do that. But I was
Four
lucky
kids,
enough
good
to
for you,
organise
man.
it.
Kids,
So
that's
all
a-
of the
that's a
kids were out of the
miracle.
house. So I actually got a couple. So I'm actually doing pretty well, to be honest.
Good for you, man. I didn't know you had 4
NBC
kids.
reporting that the atmosphere at a Democrat donor event was like a funeral.
Yeah. Apparently, people have been leaving Kamala's watch party in droves.
Well,
Which,
I can't believe that.
It'd take a half stone not to laugh, really, wouldn't it?
and the worst part about the funeral is the dead person voted for Kamala after they died.
and it's still not enough.
Yeah, it's
Too
still
big
not
to
enough.
rig.
It might be too big to rig here.
No matter what.
So- Sorry, just a quick thing. I understand that Nevada is usually very Democrat, and currently it's like 75% in, and Trump's got a lead. Are we expecting that to change?
I don't actually think it matters. Nevada is only 6.
No, it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't.
yeah.
I think he's got it either way, but I want to know the magnitude of the victory.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.